Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We'll read from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 7, beginning from verse 68. I won't read all the purports. I'll read one of the purports later. The scene in which this is being spoken is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, having come to Varanasi, is being challenged by the Mayavadi sannyasis. So the first verse that's being read here is being spoken by Prakashananda Saraswati, the Mayavadi sannyasi, in challenge to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He says, Sannyasi hoya karo nartan gayan, bhavuk shab shange loya karo shankitan. You are a sannyasi, why then do you indulge in chanting and dancing, engaging in your Sankirtan movement in the company of fanatics? Vedanta patan dhyan, shanyashira dharma, taha chari karo kene bhavuke karma. Meditation and the study of Vedanta are the sole duties of a sannyasi. Why do you abandon these to dance with fanatics? Prabhave dekhiye toma shakhat narayan. Hina cha karo kene ite ki karan. You look as brilliant as if you were Narayan himself. Will you kindly explain the reason that you have adopted the behavior of lower class people? Prabhu kahe shuno Shripad iha karan guru more murkha dekhi karilo shasham. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied to Prakashananda Saraswati, My dear sir, kindly hear the reason. My spiritual master considered me a fool and therefore he chastised me. Murkha tumi tomar nahik Vedant adika Krishna mantra japa shada e mantra sha. You are a fool, he said. You are not qualified to study Vedanta philosophy and therefore you must always chant the holy name of Krishna. This is the essence of all mantras or Vedic hymns. Krishna mantra hoite hobe shangsha mochan, Krishna nam hoite pabe Krishna charan. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one can obtain freedom from material existence. Indeed, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one will be able to see the lotus feet of the Lord. Nam binu kali kale nahi aro dharma, Sharva mantra shar nam e shastra marma. In this age of Kali, there is no religious principle other than the chanting of the holy name, which is the essence of all Vedic hymns. This is the purport of all scriptures. Eto bali ek shlok shikailo more, konte kori e shlok koriho bichare. After describing the potency of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, my spiritual master taught me another verse, advising me to always keep it within my throat. Hare Nama eva kevalam, kalo nascheva gatiranyatha. For spiritual progress in this age of Kali, there is no alternative. There is no alternative to the holy name of the Lord. E agya paya nam loy anukhan, nam loite mor branta hailamon. Since I have received this order from my spiritual master, I always chant the holy name, but I thought that by chanting and dancing the holy name, I had been bewildered. By chanting and chanting the holy name, I had been bewildered. Dharja dharite nari, hoilam unmatta, hashi kandi nachi gai, joiche modamotta. While chanting the holy name of the Lord in pure ecstasy, I lose myself and thus I laugh, cry, dance and sing just like a madman. Tobe dhoirja dori mone korilung bicha Krishna name jnana channa hoilo ama. Collecting my patience, therefore, I began to consider that chanting the holy name of Krishna had covered all my spiritual knowledge. Pagal hoilang ami dhojan nahi mone. Eto chinti nivedilung gurur charane. I saw that I had become mad by chanting the holy name, and I immediately submitted this at the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Kiba mantra dilo goshai, kiba tarabo, jopite mantra korilo pago. My dear Lord, what kind of mantra have you given me? I have become mad simply by chanting this Maha Mantra. Hashai nachai more korai krondon. Eto shuni guru hashi bolilo bachan. Chanting the holy name in ecstasy causes me to dance, laugh and cry. When my spiritual master heard all this, he smiled and then began to speak. Krishna Nam Maha Mantra eto shabhav jai jape ta Krishna upajaye bhav. It is the nature of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra that anyone who chants it immediately develops his loving ecstasy for Krishna. Krishna Vishaya Prema Param Purushartha Jare Age Trinatulla Chari Purushartha. Religiosity, economic development, sense gratification and liberation are known as the four goals of life. But before love of Godhead, the fifth and highest goal, these appear as insignificant as straw in the street. Pancham Purushartha Premanandamrita Sindhu Mokhadi Ananda Ja Nohe Ek Bindu. For a devotee who has actually developed bhav, the pleasure derived from dharma, artha, kama and moksha appears like a drop in the presence of the sea. Kindly, please turn off all cell phones. You can just forget the rest of the world for now. It can go on. You can get back to it later. Let us hear about Krishna now. No, not possible. There's more important things to do than hear about Krishna. Krishna name fall, prema, sarva shastri koi, bhagye she prema, tomai karilo udoy. The conclusion of all revealed scriptures is that one should awaken his dormant love of Godhead. You are greatly fortunate to have already done so. Premasha bhave kare, chitta tanu khob, Krishna charan prapte upajai lob. It is a characteristic of love of Godhead that by nature it induces transcendental symptoms in one's body and makes one more and more greedy to achieve the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Prema shabhave bhakta hashe kande gai, unmatta hoya nache iti uti dhai. When one actually develops love of Godhead, he naturally sometimes cries, sometimes laughs, sometimes chants, and sometimes runs here and there, just like a madman. Shida kampu romanchashru, gadgada baibarna, unmada bishada dharja garba harsha doina. Perspiration, trembling, standing on end of one's bodily hairs, tears, faltering voice, fading complexion, madness, melancholy, patience, pride, joy and humility. These are various natural symptoms of ecstatic love of Godhead, which causes a devotee to dance and float in an ocean of transcendental bliss while chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Bhalo hoilo, paile tumi, param purushartha, toma premeti ami hoilum kritartha. It is very good, my dear child, that you have attained the supreme goal of life by developing love of Godhead. Thus you have pleased me very much, and I am very much obliged to you. Nacho gao bhakta shange karo sankirtan, Krishna nama upadeshi tara sarvajan. My dear child, continue dancing, chanting and performing sankirtan in association with devotees. Furthermore, go out and preach the value of chanting Krishna Nam, for by this process you will be able to deliver all the fallen souls. Eto bali ek shlok shikailo more bhagavate shar e bale bare bare. Saying this, my spiritual master taught me a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. It is the essence of all the Bhagavatam's instructions. Therefore, he recited this verse again and again. I'll just read the purport here. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by Sri Narad Muni to Vasudeva to teach him about Bhagavat Dharma. Vasudeva had already achieved the result of Bhagavat Dharma because Lord Krishna appeared in his house as his son, yet in order to teach others, he desired to hear from Sri Narad Muni to be enlightened in the process of Bhagavat Dharma. This is the humbleness of a great devotee. So now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to recite the verse which he says is the essence of all the Bhagavatam's instructions. Evang vatasa priya nama kriyatya jata anurago duta chitta uchaihi hasatyato rodati roti gayatyun madhavan nrityati lokabhayaha. When a person is actually advanced and takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord, who is very dear to him, he is agitated and loudly chants the holy name. He also laughs, cries, becomes agitated, and chants just like a madman, not caring for outsiders. Oh. To summarize then, the Mayavadi sannyasis have challenged Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that why are you not acting like a sannyasi? Sannyasi, according to the Mayavadis, should be exceedingly grave and engage in studying of Vedanta and meditation. So why are you not doing this? Why are you jumping around in the streets, singing and dancing, which are absolutely proscribed, not prescribed, proscribed for sannyasis? And in the association of low-class people, because in the Shankara Sampradaya, sannyasi must come from Brahmin caste. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will mix with all castes. When he was staying at Varanasi, he stayed in the house of Chandrasekhar Acharya, who was considered, not Chandrasekhar Acharya, in the house of Chandrasekhar, who was a copywriter. He wrote copied books. He was a writer. In those days, books were written, or not just books, any records, any official records, whatever. So he was a Shudra by caste. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed in his house, which was certainly very shocking to the people. It certainly, just by doing so, it gave a message that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is different. He's a different kind of sannyasi. He's not concerned with caste. So this was the challenge, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu answered it by citing Guru Vachan, which in Vedic culture is very powerful, the order of the Guru. One is expected to follow the order of the Guru. However, the order of the Guru is supposed to be based on Shastra. Otherwise, what's the use? If the Guru just says whatever he likes without any reference to Shastra, then you get the kind of thing that's going on nowadays, where you have popular gurus who they're more like. Can we turn cell phones off, please? Anyone who has one. So gurus nowadays, the so-called gurus, they're more like some kind of trendy management consultant, many of them. There's one long-haired, bearded fellow from Bangalore, I believe it is, who has all this the art of going to hell and all this kind of thing. Throws in a few quotes from the Upanishads, but it's just cheating, that's all. Any intelligent person can understand this is cheating, but now of course people are not very intelligent. They think they're intelligent, that's more foolish. They use their intelligence for this Shudra work of writing software, and then they, like Shudras, they get money and they spend it on parties and booze and all this kind of thing. So, it's stupid guru for stupid people, and they all enter into darker ignorance. But in one way, the Mayavadis at this time, they were better, because at least superficially they based whatever they were doing on Shastra. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cited Guru Vachan, the order of the Guru, but that order of the Guru, that he also had to demonstrate how that is based on Shastra. We have here in Bangalore the capital of the so-called Ritvik philosophy, where they say, well, Prabhupada said, as if Prabhupada would give any instruction which is outside of Shastra. So they've misunderstood the principle that what Guru says has to be understood in the light of Shastra. Guru is not an independent authority. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cited the order of his Guru, Hare Krishna, and the order of his Guru was Nachao Gao Bhakti Sange Karo Sankirtan Krishnanam Upadeshi Tara Sarvajan. That singing and dancing and chanting, you chant the Hare Krishna mantra, and by chanting and instructing others in Harinam, you deliver all people. Just keep it there for now. Please don't put it on the floor. You're sitting on it. Your feet are there. It's the same. But then he quoted Shastra. There's not just my Guru's idea that one day we have this kind of fairy tale gurus also, that the Guru was just in meditation one day, then he got struck by a thunderbolt, and then he had a realization that everyone should eat meat and worship Kali and all the paths are the same, or something like this. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't have a fairy tale guru. He quoted Shastra, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in quoting his Guru, quoted what his Guru had quoted to him from Shastra. What's going on? We don't need this light, actually. You can take it away. Just please sit down. Try to listen. It's very difficult for us in the modern age to listen, because our senses are always agitated so much. We can't just sit and listen. So even if there's Hari Katha going on, if someone just picks their nose, everyone will look. Their attention will be diverted. So please just try to listen. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cited Shastra. His Guru had quoted Shastra, and he quoted to Prakashananda Saraswati Shastra to justify what the order of his Guru was. The order of his Guru was to chant Hare Krishna and instruct others to do so. On the basis of what? On the basis of Brihanaradiya Purana. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. Kalo Nas Jeva Nas Jeva Nas Jeva Gatir Anyatha. That in this age of Kali there is no other way for spiritual perfection but to chant the holy names, chant the holy names, chant the holy names of Hari. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described what had happened in his life. That by chanting the holy names, the holy names, Hasai, Nachai, the holy name, by chanting, the holy names make me laugh and they make me dance. It's not that I'm just dancing because I feel like having some fun, but by chanting the holy names make me dance. So I was, when this happened, by chanting the holy names, I started laughing and dancing like a madman. So I approached my Guru and asked him, what's going on? I took this mantra from you, And a mantra is supposed to give you spiritual knowledge and enhance your spiritual knowledge. But by chanting this mantra, I find that whatever I had studied previous to this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was known as a great Pandit, Nimai Pandit. He was expert in logic and defeating others in logic. So he found that whatever knowledge he had before, he'd lost. And now he was just singing and dancing. So he said that I've become like a madman, and whatever knowledge I have has become covered. So it seems like the opposite result of what I should get from a mantra. My knowledge should expand and I should become very sober. But instead, whatever knowledge I have, I lost it and I became like a madman. So what happened? He went back to his guru. He didn't say, oh, this guru is useless, but let's see what he has to say. First of all, we should see what of course there may be a case, if you're so unfortunate to have some out of going to hell so-called kind of guru, then you may be in the situation where to reject such a person. But you should, at least you should test what is his discussion how does he justify according to Shastra what he's doing. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went back to his guru and asked, what is this? Kipa mantra dilo Gosha. What kind of a mantra have you given? And on hearing this, Ishvara Puripad, his Gurudev, said, very good. You're dancing and chanting Hare Krishna, forgetting everything else? Very good. Your knowledge has become covered over? Very good. Because that is the result of chanting Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mahamantra Eto Shabhav Jai Jape Tar Krishna Upajaye Bhav. The natural result of chanting Hare Krishna is that one will develop loving feelings for Krishna. And if that covers if one forgets all the so-called knowledge that he has previously, that's very good. Because whatever knowledge we have outside of Krishna consciousness is not knowledge, it's ignorance. In Bhagavatam also it's described, Bhakti Pareshanubhava Viraktiranyatra. Bhakti means to experience the experience of the Supreme Lord and concomitant detachment from everything else. So that is affected by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. As Ishvara Puripad taught to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu another verse which he said, Bhagavata Shar. This is the essence of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the Bhagavatam, what is the Bhagavatam? Sarvaveta Itihasanam Saram Saram. The Bhagavatam itself is the essence of all the Vedas and all the histories and all the Shastras. So what is the essence of the essence of the essence of all the Shastras? Evam vrata sapriyanama kirtya jata anuraga duta chitta uchai hasatyito roti madhavan gayan roti gayan tun madhavan rityati lokabhayaha. That when one is actually advanced in love, in the stage of love of Godhead, then he automatically chants the name of his Lord, who is very dear to him. The Lord is very dear to him, and the name of the Lord is very dear to him. It's not that, have you chanted your 16 rounds? It's not like that, but automatic the attraction to the holy name, by which one automatically laughs, cries, calls out loud, and sings without caring for what other people think. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is describing that this is what I'm doing, and I don't care what you people think. You don't like it? Too bad. I'm chanting Hare Krishna. This is it. This is the spiritual life. For that, Vedanta Patan Dhyan, Sanyashira Dharma, the Prakashananda told that the dharma of a sannyasi is to study Vedanta and to meditate. But the actual result of doing that, if one is to come to the standard of loving Krishna, if one actually studies Vedanta. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went on to demonstrate this, that he's not bereft of knowledge of Vedanta. Rather, his knowledge of Vedanta far surpasses that of the Mayavadi sannyasis who are studying in a rote kind of manner, but who have not entered into the essence of Vedanta. Vedanta generally is considered, Vedanta means the Upanishads. Atato Brahma Jignasa. Now you've been through all the Karma Kandiya section, Purva Mimamsa. Now you come to the Jnana Kanda, at the end of the Vedas, after you've been through all this Evam Trai Dharmamanu Prapana Gatagatam, what is that? Evam Trai Dharmamanu Prapana Gatagatam Kama Kama Labhante. That you study the Vedas, Karma Kanda section, you perform sacrifice, you go to heaven, you come back again, you go up again, you go down again, you go up again, you go down again, you go up again, and sometimes you slip down to hell also, as happened with Nriga Maharaj. So when you're finished with all this coming and going up and down to the heavenly planets, then you atato brahma jignasa. Now you inquire into the absolute truth. This is Vedanta, subject matter of Vedanta. But the ultimate subject matter of Vedanta, the subject of Vedanta is Brahma, the absolute truth, which is generally conceived of by persons who are fed up of going up and down to the heavenly planets and back. They generally conceive of the absolute truth as impersonal, because they're not very happy in material life, but at the same time they have not given up the attitude of envy towards Krishna. So when one understands ultimately that Brahma means the absolute truth, Krishna, he is the absolute truth is not simply the object of knowledge, but the absolute truth is the object of love. Then one comes to Bhakti. And when one is in Bhakti, then he doesn't care for the karmis, jnanis, yogis, what they think. He doesn't care, because he's absorbed in love of Krishna. He's no longer subject to social conventions. He's beyond the whatever else anyone may aspire for. He only aspires for Krishna. What is that? Shutim itare, Smritim apare, Bharatamanye Bhava Bhaya Vitam, Ahameha Nandang Vande Yasyalinde Parang Brahma. That certain persons, they worship, they're very much interested in the original Vedas, others are interested in the Puranas, and others, they worship the Mahabharata, being afraid of material existence, they follow Shastra. But, as the author of this verse states, as far as I'm concerned, I worship Nanda Maharaj. He doesn't say I worship Krishna, I worship Nanda Maharaj. Because in his courtyard, the Supreme Absolute Truth is playing. So some are worshipping the Shruti, some are worshipping the Smriti, and big long discussions, Tattvam-asi, what is Tat? What is that Tat? What is the meaning of this Upanishadic Vakya? So many big discussions. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm simply worshipping Nanda Maharaj, because the Param Brahma that you are searching after, Kim Tad Brahma Kim Adhyatma, what is Brahma, what is spiritual, But Nanda Maharaj is just watching that the ultimate goal of the yogi is the ultimate goal of all the Shastric knowledge playing in his courtyard. So when one realizes this and chants the holy name of the Lord, then he doesn't care, Lokabahya, what others think. Let them say. Let them say what they like. I must chant Hare Krishna. Now, this is a very important consideration. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his time, was considered a social deviant. And actually, even up to the present time, there are many persons so-called scholars in Bengal and Orissa, who blame Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In Orissa, they say that, well, by teaching this Prem Dharma, he made King Prataparudra into a sissy, and therefore he couldn't fight properly, and Orissa became overcome by the Muslims. Or they say that, well, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoiled the old Dharma in Bengal by breaking down the caste system, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't follow any caste system. Nicha jati nahi Krishna bhajane ajoga, Shatkul Bipra nahi bhajane joga, Jai bhaje shebara abhakti hina cha, Krishna bhajani nahi jat kuladi bicha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that low birth is not a disqualification for bhakti, and high birth, so-called high birth, is not a qualification for bhakti. Whoever worships Krishna, that person is high class, and whoever doesn't worship Krishna is low class. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's estimation. So, there are people up to this day who say that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoiled society in Bengal. He was a social deviant, you could say. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to call him a social deviant is way off the mark, because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he appeared to be like a social deviant. Actually, a Vaishnava must be a social deviant, because materialistic society is deviated from Krishna consciousness. So if one wants to be a Vaishnava, he cannot remain as a respectable member of society, because to be a respectable member of materialistic society, one has to be a materialist. And a Vaishnava is not a materialist. A Vaishnava is fully dedicated to Krishna. And he knows that everything in this world, just like we were reading here, Trinatulla, jar age Trinatulla chari purushartha. Krishna Vishaya Prema Param Purushartha, jar age Trinatulla chari purushartha. This dharma, artha, kama, moksha, which are considered the respectable goals of persons within the Varnashram system. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that in comparison to love of Krishna, they are all like straw in the street. So nowadays people don't care very much about dharma or moksha. They're simply interested in artha and kama, get money and have sense gratification. And this is considered the standard of society. In modern India, the caste system is broken down to a large extent, but it's not on a spiritual basis of seeing everyone as equal, but rather there's a new kind of caste system, or a new measure of prestige. Now it's not according to birth, but it's more according to money. If you have money, then you're considered a gentleman. If you're working for a multinational corporation, of course they also have people who sweep the floor, that's not considered very prestigious. But if you're working as a highly paid Shudra in a multinational corporation, then think, oh, this is very prestigious. So the emphasis has changed, but still it's just as materialistic as previously. It's another kind of materialistic consideration, that we have to be considered respectable by people in general. But actually, if we are to be Krishna conscious, then by the estimation of materialistic people, we can never be respectable, because their aim of life is completely different. Their aim of life is get money and show it off. That you have to show you're dressed in expensive clothes and live in an expensive house and you have an expensive car and you have to show it off. It's all being fooled by the business, by the big corporations who want you to work and then you have to spend money. You get money and then you have to spend it on things like cars, which immediately, as soon as you buy it, then immediately the value goes down. And they build it in such a way that it's, within 5 years, it's completely useless, maximum 5 years. And then you have to buy another one. And it's not considered very high class to have a car which is more than 2 years old. In Japan, 1 year. And so you have to sell it and get a new one. And in this way they keep you working like an ass. Of course, asses don't work as hard, but it's just a saying. It's just a saying, working like an ass, but working more than an ass. And then you get lots of money and you spend it all, and then I'm very prestigious. That's all. And everything just for sense gratification and prestige. That's all. So a devotee doesn't live according to this principle. A devotee is not so foolish that he thinks, I have to show how respectable I am according to the standard of fools. The whole materialistic society is by nature foolish, because the goal of life is foolish. The goal of the materialists is sense gratification, prestige, money, with no higher goal in life. Even they may be religious, supposedly religious, but their goal of life is not love of Krishna. The goal of life is not surrender to Krishna. If at all they're religious, then religion is just something to make them appear respectable, and God, if He's there, then He can help. Those really difficult things like what is it? Just like this Art of Going to Hell guy. He says that it's pseudo spirituality that helps to relieve stress, all this kind of thing. Religion, and even the doctors recommend you do something religious, you do some meditation, and that's very good. That'll help to release then it'll help to lower the BP. Religion's very good. Some doctors, religion's very, you should be religious. And then you see your stress will go down and BP will go down, and it's very good. We recommend it. Religion's very good. Very good for BP. You say, it's not you actually have to believe in God, but you say you do some bhajans and some kirtans, and it's good. It's good for the health. So such people are rascals, although they may appear to be very respectable. Therefore, a devotee is very afraid of this so-called respectability. A devotee is very afraid of becoming appreciated by foolish people on their own foolish terms. The devotee cares about pleasing Krishna. He doesn't become the dancing dog of a foolish master. Rather, he is the dancing dog of the real master, who is Krishna. This is devotee. He is different. The devotee is different to others. It's a different goal of life, different attitude, whole different way of thinking. The materialistic person, everything he sees, he's simply thinking, how can I use this? Everything he sees, every situation he's in, he thinks, how can I use this to effect my own self-interest measured in terms of sense gratification? And the devotee, whatever he sees and whatever he does, he thinks, how can I utilize this situation to serve Krishna, to remember Krishna? A completely different outlook on life. Devotee is not simply a vegetarian materialist who chants Hare Krishna. But a devotee is one who has taken Krishna as the only goal of his life. Not that, if we say, well, Krishna consciousness is the main goal of my life, this is not Krishna consciousness. It is the main goal of my life, and I have other goals also. This is not Krishna consciousness. Savadhaman parityata mamekam sharanam vraja. The only goal is Krishna. This is Krishna consciousness. Some people will say this is fanaticism. They say religion is alright, but not too much. They will say religion is alright as long as it just helps you to live in this world and be a normal person. It's very reasonable. Religion, if you're a little religious, that's nice. You can be moral, and it's not really compulsory. But if you like, it's nice. You can do a little. See, actually, I'm an atheist myself, but I'm quite a reasonable atheist. So if someone wants to be a little bit religious, that's all right. I've given my stamp of approval that a little religion is all right, but too much religion is very bad. And then you see, then people become bewildered, and they give up the real goal of life, which is to enjoy the senses and have a good life and earn lots of money, and they become foolish, and they just become brainwashed by this idea of understanding or dedicating to God, which is, after all, God just an idea to lower your BP, right? So this is too much. So the materialist presents himself as very reasonable. He says, well, we should be very balanced, and you see, little religion's okay, maybe 5% or maximum 10% or maybe 15%, but absolutely no more than that. There are so many important things to do in life. You can't take religion too seriously. You've got to take the dog for a walk and all these important things to do. And actually, it's stated in the Vishnu Purana, anyone who keeps a dog in their house goes to hell. By the way. You're already in hell. If you're living with a dog, you're already in hell. Hellish mentality to want to keep a dog in your house. Stinking dog. So, the devotee knows and experiences that Krishna is not just some side dish for my sense gratification. Krishna and Krishna consciousness is not just something that, just something to do in your hobby, to be taken up in spare time. The devotee doesn't have any spare time. All his time is only meant for Krishna. Now you may think, well, how does this fit with our day-to-day life? We're working, we have families, all right, but everything for Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not something to be fitted in between work and shopping and social life and sleeping. Krishna consciousness is, if one is actually to be Krishna conscious, then Krishna consciousness means that there is no meaning in one's life but Krishna consciousness. And all these other things which are considered a necessary part of life, that is just some incidental, or rather that is only done for maintenance of the body, so that we can go on with our Krishna conscious activities, and that also has to be done in a sense of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada wrote and many times said that householders, they should give 50% of their income for spreading the Sankirtan movement. No one wants to do that. And you may think, well, it's how can we live if we give 50%? And no one's pressing to do so. But the idea is there, that the money, the income, we should understand. It's not that, well, I have earned so much money and it's my money and I'll give something for Krishna consciousness. But we should understand that actually nothing belongs to me. One of the prominent Grihastha disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was earning a lot of money by 800 rupees a month. Nowadays, if you earn 800 rupees a month, it's probably just enough to pay your bus fare up and down to the factory. But during the month. But in those days, it was a very high salary. And every month, he would bring his income and give it all to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He would, and then Saraswati Thakur, he would give back a small amount, enough to maintain his family. He wouldn't take it, but he arranged to give it to his wife, like this. 200 rupees he gave back. So he was earning high income, but he says, you take it all. My whole life is meant for you only. He had Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had a very high standard for Grihastha disciples. So they were supposed to come to the mat every evening and engage in the full program. That their home life was not supposed to be the center of their lives, but if they were living close to the mat, then they were supposed to come and spend the whole evening, every evening. And because this is the process of sharanagati, of developing surrender. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati didn't insist on that. There was only one disciple who did that. And he also, not under order, under his own volition, he gave his whole salary every month. But that was the standard. He wanted that his disciples would come up in Krishna consciousness. How to come up? The sacrifice must be there, giving our whole, the intention, not only the intention, but the practice of giving our whole being to Krishna must be there. If we say 50%, that's a very great demand to give. Actually, that's a concession for householders. Because actually one is supposed to give 100%. The sannyasis and brahmacharis, they're giving 100% of their time and energy, everything. So for grihasthas there's a concession, only 50%. And again, of course, Prabhupada didn't insist on that, but he did state that if only the people of the world would give 50% of their income for promoting the Sankirtan movement, then this whole world, this whole planet can be transformed by Sankirtan, for distributing prasadam, printing books, and all these things. So all these things, this is something. It may seem just like, well, everyone will say I'm a fool if I was to so much be Krishna conscious. We should be Krishna conscious and at the same time maintain our social respectability. Maybe. But social respectability isn't very important, actually. Krishna consciousness is very important. If social respectability conflicts with our Krishna consciousness, then we have to take Krishna consciousness. We're all, the human being is so much influenced by peer pressure that we have to appear respectable in the eyes of others. But this is one form of how Maya works, that everyone is subtly coercing everyone else to be like everyone else, and everyone else is in Maya, so it's a group plot to how everyone is kept in Maya. Everyone's watching everyone else. Oh, you're not wearing the latest jeans? Oh, you only have a two-wheeler? You don't have a car? What's wrong with you? Your wife just wears these simple saris. You're not going to buy her silk saris, and it goes on and on and on. Your prestige, you earn more money, and then as soon as you earn more money, you don't have enough. You ever had that experience? You get a pay rise, you improve, get a better job. Better job means more money, right? That's the meaning of a better job. So as soon as you get a pay rise, you don't have enough money. Is that right? Because immediately you're expected to spend on a higher level. You're trapped by other people's expectations of how you should be. So instead of living according to the expectations of how others think you should be, others who are in this vortex of going to hell in the name of social respectability, one should consider how my Guru wants me to be, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants me to be. It may be that your Guru says, yes, you live very respectably and comfortably, and bring people who are accustomed to such respect and comfort, bring them to your home, give them prasadam, and teach them to chant Hare Krishna. You may say that. But we should know that this so-called respectability has no meaning other than to trap us in the maya of thinking that this is desirable. This is described in Srimad Bhagavatam as dhana durmadandha, foolishly blinded by wealth. Kasmad bhajanti kavayo dhana durmadandha. Why should one who is learned simply follow in the footsteps or flatter or be influenced by those who are blinded and mad by the supposition of wealth, of thinking, I am wealthy. Sri Aishwarya, again in Bhagavatam, Sri Aishwarya Prajepsava. We are materialistic society means to be surrounded by beautiful, well-dressed women, lots of money, and all the vestiges of wealth, and family, all these things. So everything can be used in Krishna's service, but we should know that intrinsically all these things are extrinsic to the real need of the soul, which is to love Krishna. Our real need is to love Krishna. And if necessary, we have to be prepared to do what is not pleasing to others so that we can please Krishna. If we're too much concerned with pleasing persons who are not Krishna conscious, then we cannot be Krishna conscious. It's not possible. Because materialistic consciousness and Krishna consciousness are different, they are opposite. So we should not be very much concerned with pleasing foolish people who they think they're very intelligent. They think they're very progressive, advanced, fashionable, up to date. This idea of being up to date, modern, progressive is all. It's actually, if we see the cultural roots of it, it's based on the Western philosophical mistake. There's a word for it which I can't remember now. Of thinking that human society is always progressing. That there were apes running around, and then some of them fell out of the trees and stood up, and then they became human beings, and then they gradually became very advanced and cultured, and they sat at tables to eat their beef with knife and forks, and this is the pinnacle of human culture. Nowadays in India also, people, they think, well, to be civilized and respectable, you have to eat at a table with chairs. It takes up so much space in your house for this useless thing. You have to spend money for it too, and someone's making some business. But the traditional system is to sit on the floor, as some of you might remember. So like this, there's the idea that human society is always progressing. Now we're more progressed. Now we have better roads in India than ever before. Of course, as soon as you come off the highway, it's just a complete disaster. But at least we have some roads, the fantastic highways, which almost up to the standard of a back street in America. But so in this way, you see, it's tangible. We're making progress, and now you see it's so progressive. You can work for an American company, and even while you're living in India, you can have a teleconference. So even while you're living in India, you can have a teleconference with America. This is wonderful. This is so advanced. But what is the advancement? Advancement in terms of Vedic culture means advancement of consciousness, not advancement of trinkets and gadgets that keep us in maya, of thinking that this material world is a very nice place. That is not advancement. That is advancement in foolishness. In Vedic culture, one is considered advanced if he lives very simply, with no attachment to all these things. That is considered advanced, and cultivates spiritual knowledge. Nowadays one's considered advanced if he earns a lot of money and throws it all away at the weekend. This is the Western idea. You earn money during the week, and then you go to parties and you throw it all away. This is very clearly advancement simply in foolishness. That's all. But people think, this is great because they're so foolish. They have taken the idea of what it means to be advanced from what they see on the TV, and they just assume, oh yeah, okay, we should live like this. They never actually, they say think for yourself, but no one ever thinks for themselves. If people thought for themselves, then why should they wear jeans and fashions, and why? Why do they dress like that? Because they're told to by the advertisement, buy these jeans, you will be trendy. Oh, okay. Foolish. So in Vedic culture, one is considered advanced if he has no attraction for all these things. He's living very simply, and his life is dedicated to understanding the absolute truth. This is actually advanced. So we should consider this, that don't think that this modern way of life is anything advanced. We should know that it is simply, instead of just going to hell, running to hell. That's all. That's the difference between previous times and now. Even previous times it may have been gata gatam, what is that? Evam trai dharma manuprapana gata gatam kama kama labhante. In previous times the materialism, at least in India, meant going to the heavenly planets, coming back, going up, coming. But now the progress is, instead of going up to the heavenly planets and coming back, going up to the heavenly planets and coming back, is going to hell and coming back, going to hell and coming back, going to hell and coming back. That is the difference. It takes a long time to come back. Once you go to hell, then you have to come back as a tree, a cat, a dog, a fish. And you come be a dog in the house, and there's actually not much difference between the dog in the house and the man in the house. In consciousness, it's the same practically. The man has become the servant of the dog. Instead of becoming Krishna Das, he's become Kutta Das. That's all. Dog Das. And he thinks, this is, they're very advanced. I mean, even you see in Indians, they keep dogs. They should at least learn how to look after them. At least in the West, they have a long-standing culture of dogs. So they know how to take the dog for a walk in such a way that the dog just doesn't drag them all over the place. It's ridiculous. You see people they have the dog on a lead and the dog is dragging them here and there. Anyway, better not to have a dog at all. So we shouldn't be bewildered by this absurd way of life that passes on as progress. That there's such heavy social pressure that you have to wear all these fancy t-shirts and live like a complete fool and just be interested in money and prestige, and we should be very afraid of this materialistic society. That it is, even there's such strong social pressure to conform to it, but we should know for sure that it is not in any way whatsoever in our self-interest to conform to the standards of materialistic society. It is absolutely opposite to our real self-interest, which is to develop love of Krishna. We should understand this very clearly, that the so-called intelligent, get-ahead, trendy, upbeat person is on the royal road to hell. However much he may seem, it's great, we're very happy, we're going to improve, we're going to do our business, we're going to improve our career, we're going to go to America, and we're going to buy lots of things, and we're going to develop the company, and you should know this is all hogwash. It's all absolutely nonsense. The man's a fool number one. You may not tell him on his face, you can if you like, but he probably won't appreciate it, but then whether or not he appreciates it, that's not the standard. We should try to help these people actually. It's difficult because they're so puffed up, because they think, I'm a success. You see, I've got a big job. I got my university degree and I came and wagged my tail at the office, please give me a job. And they gave me a job and I got this fantastic job. I'm earning 1 lakh of rupees a month, and I'm great, I'm wonderful, I'm a success. And the head becomes inflated. I'm so wonderful. Who will listen? Who will listen? And you're talking all this sentimental and outdated and meaningless things about religion and Krishna. Come on, be realistic, enjoy life. You're only young once. So it's difficult to get across to such foolish people. We should certainly not be enamored by their foolishness, but we should understand it for what it is. That it is simply foolishness. And if we're also unfortunate enough to have such an occupation which is considered very good, we should know that actually this so-called good job is just a manifestation of my misfortune, that I have to associate with such materialistic people, that instead of associating with devotees who are absorbed in love of Krishna, I have to associate with these foolish rascals who are simply interested in love of money. So we should know that the so-called good job, it's actually a great misfortune. Any job, good job, bad job, it's all bad. It's 1 lakh a month stool, or 2,000 rupees a month stool. That's all. How much do you get out of your stool? That's so. If you take that, if you're able to earn some money, use it for Krishna. Don't use it to become another fool. Having come to Krishna consciousness, we should understand the overwhelming necessity of being Krishna conscious. There is nothing else to be desired in this world. There is no meaning to anything else in this world, or even beyond this world. The only reality is Krishna consciousness. We may desire, we get a so-called good job, save your money. If you're earning good money, live simply, save it and retire early. Get out of this horrible situation of having to live with respectable, polite fools who have no interest in Krishna consciousness. Or you can preach in that situation, try to bring them to Krishna consciousness also. That's also, you can make the best use of a bad bargain. But generally, of course, they won't appreciate that, and they might throw you out of the job if you try too much to preach Krishna consciousness. But at least this understanding must be there prominently. We need to understand this, that everything here is temporary. Smaran nityam anityadvam. We should know everything here is temporary. We should always remember at every moment that everything in this world is temporary. The only thing of permanent value is chanting Hare Krishna, serving Krishna, cultivating Krishna consciousness. That is the only thing of actual value. And whatever else may be there in this world, it only has value in as much as it can facilitate remembering Krishna and serving Krishna. Otherwise it has no value whatsoever. Vitetam yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta atmani tadvidyad atmano mayam yata bhasho yata tamaha. Maya, what is Maya? Everything conceived of as not having a relationship to Krishna, that is Maya. So if we see anything in this world, if we conceive of anything in this world as not in terms of Krishna consciousness, then that is the illusion that binds us to this material world. It may seem very wonderful, but it is just like the actual light which is reflected in the darkness. It is not the actual light of Krishna consciousness. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching by his personal example how we should not care too much or very much or at all for what others think. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was very much respected in his youth as a great scholar. He lived in a land of scholars. Navadvip Dham at that time was known as a place of scholars, and he was the greatest scholar of Navadvip. But after receiving the holy name from Ishvara Puripad, he forswore his mundane scholarly activities and became a social outcast, an odd bod by the materialistic estimation, and simply chanted Hare Krishna, danced, chanted, cried, and the respectable Hindu said, you see, he's spoiling Hindu society. He was previously very good scholar, but now he's spoiling Hindu society. And the sannyasis here are saying the same thing. You're not acting like a proper sannyasi. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he acted on the platform of Atma Dharma, the actual dharma of the soul, which is to serve Krishna. He did not act in terms of social dharma or what others think of me. Now, actually, for a householder, that is generally recommended that you do think in terms. A householder has got social commitments, family commitments. So please don't go without prasadam. Mataji, you going? Should not be allowed to. I see. Yeah. So, householder has social duties. That is there. But that also must be executed in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, what is the use? What is the point? Hare Krishna. Is there any question about this?
Srila Goswami says in Bhakti that every vastu has got its relationship with Krishna. Every vastu, every matter, or every object, relationship with Krishna.
Yeah.
Hari Sambandhi vastu. So these days they are producing so many cars, so many things, whatnot, everything. So can all of this have any sambandha with Hari, and can all of this be used in Krishna's service?
Can everything be used in Krishna's service? Most things can be used in Krishna's service if one knows how to do so. Not everything. Just like, for instance, some materialistic movie. The principle, a movie can be used in Krishna consciousness. Although actually Prabhupada wasn't that much in favor, he preferred books. Can be used. Materialistic movie, we're going to go to watch, there's that new movie, Bride and Prejudice. We're going to go and watch this. No. No use in Krishna's service. The cinema hall, yeah, we can show some, people are addicted to seeing films, then you can show them something about Krishna, yes. But the butcher's shop, yes, we shall have a Krishna conscious butcher's shop, no such thing. You can take the butcher's shop and demolish it and make a place for kirtan, that you can do. See everything in relationship with Krishna doesn't mean that everything can be engaged in Krishna service, because some things are directly sinful. But rather, we can see everything through Shastra Drishti, Shastra Chakshuhu. We can see everything in relationship to Krishna, understand everything in relationship to Krishna. But it's not that everything can be, everything is adaptable to Krishna consciousness. Some things are so directly sinful that there's no wine drinking in Krishna consciousness. Actually, Prabhupada said there is, but that's Prabhupada said if the wine drinker thinks that the taste of wine is Krishna, then someday he'll be a great devotee. But when he becomes a great devotee, he won't be drinking wine anymore. So that's just a concession for the wine drinkers. But it's not that everything. Therefore, Krishna also says, Savadhaman Parityaj Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Pratikul Yasya Varjanam. That which is not favorable or that is against the anything which is against the principle of development of Krishna consciousness, that is to be given up. So it's there is the idea of Krishnaizing certain activities, but not everything is Krishnaizable, because there are certain things which Krishna likes and certain things that Krishna doesn't like. So that which Krishna doesn't like, we can't say I'm doing it for Krishna. Krishna doesn't like that we eat meat, well I shall eat meat for Krishna, and that's not possible. Because Krishna doesn't want us to. But that verse is there. If one doesn't see how things can be used in the service of Krishna and rejects them on those grounds, that is called Falgu Vairagya, or meaningless renunciation. Is as a general principle, if the renunciation of the Mayavadis, they reject everything, not seeing how anything has a relationship with Hari. The mumukshu, those who are desirous of impersonal liberation, they don't see how anything has a relationship with Hari, because they don't recognize that everything does have a relationship with Hari. So some things we see the relationship with Hari, that yes, this is Hari's Maya. Not for me to indulge in.
Even after hearing so much, still our attachment to materialistic ideas and identifying ourselves with job and money wouldn't go from Maya. Why is it so? Even after convincing the Krishna conscious philosophy.
Why do we remain in Maya, more or less, you're saying? That question that comes up in Mahabharata. That question was asked by the king to his ministers, which means learned brahmanas, that why can we not give up Maya? So many of all the different brahmanas, they gave different answers. And then they saw that one old respected brahmana who was considered very wise had not said anything so far. So they were all looking at him, what's he going to say? So then he got up and embraced a pillar in the hall, he embraced the pillar and said, let me go, let me go, let me go. And I thought, what happened to him? He became crazy. He said, it's like this, we're asking why we can't give up Maya, we're holding on and saying, let me go. We can give up attachment for that which is asat by associating with that which is sat. Association with devotees. Tivra bhakti, by intense devotional service. We can come out of the sphere of Maya. Something like these rockets they supposedly sending into space. To get out of the atmosphere of Maya, it requires a very strong boost, doesn't it? It works on the same principle as these little firework rockets. You light it and you go, and it comes down very quickly. But if you want to have a rocket that goes outside of what they call the gravity of the earth, you have to have a very strong blast, and that'll carry you out of the pulling, the earth's gravitational pull. So if we're going to come out of the pull of Maya, we have to have a very strong blast of Krishna consciousness. That's all. Half-hearted won't work. Anything else?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Now, as he knows everything, when he had a different experience after chanting the Mahamantra, why did he go to clarify with his Guru?
Why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have a Guru if he knows everything? More or less, that's why you're asking. Well, Ram also had his Guru. Who's Ram's Guru? Vishwamitra. Krishna also had his Guru. Who's Krishna's Guru? Sandipani Muni. So, in his Leela, why does he have a mother and father? If he's self-sufficient, why does he have mother, father, Guru? One reason is that by taking these roles of subordination, he there are loving exchanges between him and his superiors. Another is to teach the world the necessity that everyone needs to accept a Guru. Everyone needs to learn. He's teaching by his practical example. Apani achari prabhu jivere shikai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught by his own behavior. That's the very meaning of Acharya. Acharya means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he's the Supreme Lord, but he's taking the role of an Acharya. So Acharya means Achinoti Yashastrani Acharya. stapyatyapi swayam acharate yasmad acharyastena kirtitaha. Acharya means one who knows Shastra, acts according to Shastra, and by his own behavior teaches others to act according to Shastra. He is called an Acharya. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as an Acharya, taught how it's necessary to go to an Acharya. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching herein, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva